die, when Jacob was to die, he called his boys and said, "Come, let me tell you what will happen." And he started from the first and he labeled them till he got to the last. Told them what the future will bring. So you know that a time when a man is transiting from this plane to the next plane, he has one leg here and the other leg there. Are you with me? And so they have access to things that you may consider ordinary, but it's not ordinary. Praise the Lord. So, in essence, what am I saying? That you have a place, you have a responsibility, you have a grace that God gives you to be a mother in Israel. Praise the Lord. God welcome you, my sisters. God bless you. So sometimes you see those of us who work, you have a job, and every day you're going to work, you have a meeting, you're running up and down. They come to your house, there's no food, everywhere is upside down. You say, "Oh, I'm busy. But what does the Bible say? Matthew 23. Can we read that? Someone put that up quickly. It says, you tithe your mint, you tithe your cumin, you tithe your all sorts of tiny little seeds, but you neglect the weightier matters of the law. Bible says this you should have done, but that you should not leave undone. So you are working for World Bank, you're working for WHO, you're working for UNICEF, you're working anywhere, you work for Trump, you work remotely, you are earning millions of dollars. Bible says that you should do, no problem. But this, you cannot live undone. So sometimes you'll have to wake up at 4 a.m. to make breakfast, to iron uniforms, to put things in place, and to prepare your household, because you cannot leave it undone. If you do, you are absolutely irresponsible. And the Lord will frown at you. If the Lord frowns at you, you're not in a nice place. If he smiles at you, you know a lot of things happen when he smiles at you. If he frowns at you, a lot of things will also happen, and you're not going to like them. Now, a woman, they say is a weaker vessel, but that thing, I think, is a scam. Bible says, treat them as you would treat a weaker vessel. It didn't label them a weaker vessel, because you're not. What you've got capacity for is unbelievable. What you've got capacity for is unbelievable, and God will not put it on a man. No, he won't, because there'll be confusion in the system. I'm out of town today, and it's Easter. My children came home, and when I wrote them to tell them that I was traveling, and that this Easter is going to be a boys' day out. And their father commented and said, nobody should complain about what we use. Because when they want to cook yam porridge, they'll bring out a carton of fish from this thing and cut fish until the pot is full. Then they boil the yam. Then when this actually happened, then when I'm coming home, somebody comes to open the gates and says, "Mommy, Daddy cooked yam porridge and his yam porridge was sweeter than your own." I said, "How would it be sweeter than my own when you ate your whole school fees?" Praise the Lord. So I didn't see Matthew. Nobody put it up. It says, without neglecting the others. Okay. So before we launch out, let's assume that right now you don't have a job, or you're working from home, you're making tiger nuts. It's important that you put certain things in order. Put your house in order. Let your family life have structure. This is when we wake up. This is the time for devotion. This is when the children go to school. There was a time in my life that my children were always late for school. And guess why? My husband and I, we come back from work. We're very junior doctors at the time. Then we'll go and get Grey's Anatomy, season 1. We will watch it until we fall asleep at 3:30. Then we wake up at 2:07. I will say, Jesus, the children haven't. Then you carry the child, brush. Oya poo-poo, oya poo-poo, oya poo-poo. Brush your teeth, carry them. Dry. Meanwhile, you yourself are going to work. You wear clothes. Then drop the child at 8:30. Then zoom off to work at 9. The children will not enter class till 9. They will pick the entire compound, all the litter, and enter the third lecture because their parents are irresponsible. Then I get to work and my boss is like, who is the boss here? I don't get. Why are you coming by this time? I'm scratching my head, I'm talking rubbish. One day we decided, this is crap. We closed our subscription to those days it used to be VHS, you go and borrow or something. I can't remember. And that was the end of that forever. And I would drop my children in school, and my office was 45 minutes away from my children's school. And I'll be at work having dropped my children before 8 o'clock. If I can, you need to now decide. And we had family devotion. And the whole process has to run like clockwork. So I'm saying that if I can do that, so can you. And it is important that your family has a structure. Your family has a pattern. There's a system that is put in place. This is when I go to market. This is when I cook. This is when I prepare stock. This is when I make jollof rice. This is when I prepare soup. This is when I do this and this is when I do that. So your life is organized. You're not one hurricane of confusion that is happening everywhere. Praise the Lord. So it is upon that, a background of a stable home, that you want to form a launching pad for a business, for a career, for a profession, for whatever it is that God has put in your heart to do. 1 Corinthians chapter 4. It says it's required of servants that a man be found faithful. And I looked at about 8 different translations, and it says it's required, it is essential, it is demanded, it is sought, it is a must that a manager or a steward or a servant or those who have been put in trust be found faithful, be found trustworthy. And whatever it is that you set out to do in terms of your pursuits, as per career, business, whatever, the baseline, the fundamental basic that the Lord demands of you is what? Faithfulness, trustworthiness. Psalm 37 verse 3 says, trust in the Lord and do good, dwell in the land and cultivate faithfulness. Do good, prosper, feed on his faithfulness. John 12:24, unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, a plentiful harvest of new lives will come. So, for whatever it is, there are certain things that the Lord sets as fundamental benchmarks. When you have put your house in order, you have put your home in order, you have stood as a mother in Israel in that space, you are ready to launch out to labor and to bring in the sheaves. Proverbs 15:27, he who profits unlawfully brings suffering to his own house and troubles his own house. We'll talk about that later. But the scriptures that we've read, I just wanted to point out to us that God demands responsibility, discipline, and faithfulness in whatever endeavor we set out to do. I told you a bit about the rough life we used to live when we first got married. There was a lot of things that were out of place. Somehow, the euphoria of just being married, and you feel like, this is the ultimate. Life has finally happened and everything is all right. You find your life running free will, without control. You're just going like a mad person. And those things eventually will adversely affect your children, affect your family. One day, I used to quarrel with my husband then. I say, this house, this is not how a house should be. We should be praying in the morning, we should be kiniko. But how will you pray when you have spent 14 hours watching season 1? How? You will fall asleep and it's time for is it now that it is 8:30, 7:30, the children are supposed to be in school by 8, they've not even woken up, that you are going to come to do morning? Of course you can't now. You bath them and waybill them to the school and try to recover whatever you can of the day. And I think the Lord had it up to here with us. One day I woke up in the night and I saw my husband kneeling down. And he was crying. I'm like, who beats this one? But you know that kind of thing. You just use pillow, cover yourself, face one side, stay. In the morning, I thought he would call me and tell me something. He didn't tell me anything. I kept quiet. 3 days later, that day, we came back from work, and he had gone to this place called Open Secret Treasures or Open Treasures or something Treasure Shop. It was a bookstore. He bought daily bread, he bought new Bibles, he bought all sorts of things and came home, called me and said, henceforth, we wake up by 4:30 and morning devotion in this house is by 5 o'clock. I said, yes, sir. He puts out a protocol. Maybe my kids were still small then. So like I told you earlier, I've not had sense all the while. It's not always. Stupidity it's a common thing. When you get sense, you align. So he said, this is what we're going to do. And for maybe 21 years, my children have read scriptures every morning and every night. We've prayed together. We've done all of that. So if your house is upside down, you're not the worst person on earth. I was there. It's time for you to straighten things out. Put your house in order. Arrange yourself. Okay? Praise the Lord. Now, you want to start something. You want to get a job. There are certain jobs you should not take. Hello, listen to me. There's a time when Biden was president, the US pumped a lot of money into relief or whatever funding for terror. You realize that on the background of those jobs was an agenda. One, your job is to distribute condoms in secondary schools. It's in this Abuja now, are you not aware? They'll pay you. Then, they were paying to do damage control for you. And the job is cool. They're paying